Okay, cool. Awesome. All right. Well, let's
Perfect.
take that around too. So welcome everyone to our video presentation, the most important new addition to your media mix. I am Caitlin. I am a social media strategist here at Digible, and I will introduce the lovely Kelsey.
Thank you. I am Kelsey. I'm one of the SEO analysts here at Digible, and we're here to talk to you about video and not microphone maintenance because clearly we are not able to talk about that.
It's not our area of
Nope.
expertise. Thank you, David, for your tech help on that.
Mhm.
Alrighty, so let's get into it. So, what are we going to talk about today? We've got quite a few things on the agenda, but all exciting. So, first, we're just going to get into kind of why video, what video can do for you, and then specific opportunities, how to measure impact once you've got video integrated into your matrix. Then, how to use video across different platforms. So, all types of cross platform posting options, some audience analysis, best practices, and then the big budget question budget and then just some takeaways, and we'll jump into Q&A. I know video is a super broad topic, so we are going to do our best to weave you through this journey. So let's get into it. So let's talk about what video can do for you and for your properties. So first and foremost, I wanted to just kick into a quick video that we put together by the numbers. So let's see.
So, what's a video presentation without at least one video?
Precisely. I figured for everything that we were going to say, like this. Alrighty, so there we have it. So big shout out to Tatiana for helping us to put that video together. So I just wanted to quickly hit on some of the big impact numbers that come out of that video. So talking about that 157% increase in SERPs is that cannot be understated more. It's really just an incredible impact that these numbers can have when you're integrating video across platforms. Also, talking about how there is a massive percent difference in how we process words and still images versus how we process video as like all humans. So, the impact of video is not only just like an increase in your engagement rates, but generally an increase in how connected people are to your data, how much they're remembering the name of your property, things like that. So, some really huge metrics that we can get into, and we'll dive in a little farther about impact. So, oops, my bad. So, let's talk about what opportunities video can provide. So, on the organic social side, you can really get in depth about your property, talk about your amenities, your floor plans, your community, your local areas of interest. You can really let people see firsthand what it's like to live in your community and in a way that still imagery, carousel posts, really any other type of posting doesn't offer that same depth of perspective. Also, talking about increased engagement across platforms. Video has been proven statistically over time, honestly, since its introduction into the social realm, to have significantly higher engagement rates across platforms. And same being that you can use video across platforms. You can film once and use it on five, six, seven different platforms and see that increased engagement on all sides. You also have that higher potential for conversion and a possible potential for increased click-through rates to your website. So the likelihood of someone, watching a tour video and going onto your website to learn more, significantly higher than someone seeing a singular floor plan image and doing that same click. So, Kelsey, do you want to touch a little bit on the SEO side of things?
Oh, of course, always want to. So when you add videos to your marketing mix, it helps with SEO in a variety of ways. But for the main portion of what we're going to be talking about is it'll help you boost your organic traffic to your site, which is a ranking for Google, which I'll touch on in the next slide. But it also helps increase your user experience. So just promoting it to just offer more to people on your website so they can see the videos of your floor plans, your amenities, the neighborhood around the apartment complex and your community. And it just helps provide more information to people when they come to your website. which then can lead to increased time on your site, which again is another ranking factor for Google. So the longer you can keep people on your website, the better it's just going to be for everyone, especially for you, which then can lead to an increase in conversions. So the more high quality video content you can put on your website will help people have a better understanding of your property. And then, maybe they'll schedule a tour, maybe they'll call your leasing office, all the conversions that are important to you. And then you can also help generate more social shares, which then brings more people back to your website because if they share a video on their Facebook, their friends see it, they'll go to your website and it just creates like a beautiful loop of SEO.
Love the SEO loop. Awesome. My bad.
So we can touch a little bit more into the benefits of adding video to SEO and to your organic social, and just the impact that it can have.
We'll jump into SEO first. Take it away.
Um, so when you add SEO to your video mix or just your marketing mix, I can, like I said, boost organic traffic, which is a Google ranking factor. So the more incoming traffic you have, it's just it's
Okay.
just it's better for your SEO. So the more content you create, the more traffic you'll draw, and you'll just potentially rank higher and get more people to your website. It definitely also helps increase your user experience. So videos encourage people to spend time on your website. It gives people something to look at. They won't click away super fast, which then sends more positive signals to search engines about your content, which again boosts your SEO, which then hopefully increases your conversions, which is basically like, what we all want. It keeps people engaged and it may help them schedule a tour on your property. But I think the biggest benefit, and this is across the board for like any product you use, is it helps you stand out from competitors in your area, especially if it's a high competition area. Adding those videos to your website and on your social media pages just helps you stand out, and people will remember your amenities over someone else's because they're able to see it in such um, a visually appealing way.
And it really helps in just that it's also super underutilized in the multifamily market
Mhm.
overall. So there's really a big cutting edge that you can create there.
So when you are looking at videos on your website, here are some metrics that you can look at to make sure that it's the videos that you're putting out there are impactful. So on your website, you can look at the amount of video plays, video completion, average video play time, session duration, and social sharing. And you can use tools like Google Analytics, Google Search Console, and Google Tag Manager as free tools to help you determine what those metrics are. And if you add those videos to your Google Business profile, which I will always encourage because that is just a beautiful way to get people engaged into your property early on, you can look at video plays, video completion, and average video play time there.
And it really does just add something to that GBP. It
Mhm.
shines it up. So let's talk a little bit more about organic social. So you've got some fantastic audience engagement opportunities across platforms. So you really have the opportunity to get personal with your audience. Talk about what are they interested in seeing in your property. Talk about your local community. Highlight local businesses. Just take a walk around your community and film it, and you really have this opportunity to increase those engagement rates. But interestingly, on organic social, which isn't typically conversion focused, there is a correlation between that increase in engagement and those informative videos and conversions. So, being able to talk about here's our amenities, here's our floor plans, here's our pricing, you can speed up that apartment search process and answer questions that prospects might have long before they ever get to your website. Just makes that renting decision or that decision to at least become a lead, ask for more interest quicker and easier. So that potential to increase those conversion rates, but also make them faster is a really exciting aspect of video on organic shows on organic social. And then talking a little bit more about that increased potential for click through rates for tours. So there's also some statistics behind getting people onto those website landing pages looking at tours, tour videos, floor plan videos, especially when they're well done or they're high quality or they feel very genuine, do a lot to help people drive or to help drive people to your website. And that gets more into just making sure that when you are making videos, including those call to action buttons, especially schedule your tour today, something like that. They perform super well. So let's talk about how to measure success. So video metrics, especially on organic social, to be 100% transparent, are a little crazy, but we can break it down. Every social media platform measures video impact and video success a little bit differently. But there's a few main areas that you can kind of focus in. One is view count. It's essentially just views. You would think of it in the classic sense. Interestingly, across platforms, views are counted differently. So, for example, on Facebook, a view is only counted if it was viewed longer than 3 seconds. On Instagram, a view is counted if it was seen at all. There's no measured amount of time. On LinkedIn, it's viewed after 5 seconds. It counts as a view. Um, so things change a little bit differently, but ultimately, you're going to want to look at how many people are viewing your video. Then getting into engagement, how many people are liking, commenting, sharing. This is one of the true magic parts of video is how much personal engagement you can bring. You can pose questions, you can ask polls, you can integrate those opportunities for engagement in your videos in a really fun but also really simple way. And then talking about watch time. So, what's the average amount of time that someone's staying on the video? Let's say you've posted a 45-second floor plan walkthrough video. Are you losing people after 15 seconds? Are you losing people after 30 seconds? Are they watching all the way through? It's a really great insight into how much time people are spending on the video and how you can improve the videos over time on those higher engaging sections. And then getting again into click through rate. So your number of clicks divided by your number of views. How many people are actually following through from that video, headed to your website, making a call, taking some sort of action. I also briefly wanted to touch on when you're looking at specific videos that are posted on your website. I know it's not necessarily organic social, but keeping in mind that average session duration can also increase. So if there's a video on your website, someone is likely to stay on that website page for longer, and that's a great metric to look at for success. So keeping in mind that the goal of video on organic social overall is to grow your brand, engage your audience, but you may see those increased click through rates and conversions as well, which is really exciting. So, talking about the underused market, video is not used for widely in the multifamily industry at all at the moment. So, there's a really fantastic opportunity here. But noting video is also not as widely posted overall as it should be when correlated to how much engagement it's getting. So, this chart is specifically talking about Instagram, but the red and blue little bars are video content versus the green and orange are like still image or carousel content. So the amount of content being posted is still leaning towards still image and carousel image, but the amount of engagement that's coming in is strongly leaning towards that video content. So making the transition from using stills to using more video content can be really beneficial and you can really see an increase in that engagement. So that all being said, you can do this across platforms. I really hope that y'all love this gift. I had so much fun making it. You can be efficient with your time. Video does not have to be something that takes triple the amount of time that having an image library does. You can create evergreen content that works regardless of the season, regardless of the platform. You can also take one video, splice it differently, and put it together to make 4 different videos. Um, Essentially one piece of well-made content or one, section of filming can work for Facebook, it can work for Instagram, it can work for TikTok, LinkedIn, Twitter, your paid ads, your SEO, and your website. So you can be efficient with the way that you film, really get the most bang for your buck, really be the most useful with your time, but still see those massive gains in engagement. So none of that is relevant unless you know who you're talking to. So, Kelsey, let's get a little bit into audience.
Right. Let's do it. Especially because we had Oprah on the last side. I think it's just only fair that I just point out that Oprah knew her audience, love free stuff. So you should know your audience when you make videos. So luckily for us, NAA posted a study on their website that RealPage did that did a survey of all the renters in the US market, and they broke them down into 8 distinct types. We don't have the time to go over all 8, but we'll just talk about just the largest 3 just so you guys can get an idea. So the first group and the largest are the starting out singles, which make up 29% of today's market. They're typically the youngest, around 26 years old, and they move around a bit, whether that be because of rising prices or just they're like looking to find a new area where they find themselves, where they fit. They tend to move around a bit and they will go for smaller apartments just based off of like, everyone. I think when we first got a new job, we weren't making a lot. So we're just trying to find a place where we can get the most for our money for our the most bang for our buck. I
Yes.
tried to say that like 10 times earlier today, but
Money for our dollar, something like that.
no,
We got it.
we all get it. The next group is very similar to the starting out singles, which are the young adult roommates. They make up 21% of the US market. They're around 28, but the difference between them and the starting out singles is that they have two or more adults that they live with. So they take advantage of that combined income and they're able to afford the pricier units because they have the dual incomes coming in. And the third group we'll talk about, which is often the most overlooked household, is the perma renters at 16% of the market. These residents, on average, are around like in their early 30s. They're single, but an important thing to note is that they always renew their expiring leases at least once. So when you're making content, you can kind of keep these groups in mind, so that way your videos are being seen. Because the more eyes on your videos, the more engagement you'll get, the more people going back to your website, and just converting. So, all that said, when you guys are making your videos, keep in mind not who you want to see the videos, but where you can get the most eyes on your videos. So for the starting out singles, they're in the 26-year age group. You can post your videos onto Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, because that's primarily what the apps that they use. I would suggest though posting videos on all platforms just because it gives you a better idea of the engagement value on each of those platforms, and then you can kind of pull away from certain platforms if they're just not benefiting you. So that's just a great tool for when you're planning your marketing strategy, just to keep those groups in mind and also just kind of give you ideas for content to create in case you get stuck.
Yeah, exactly. You can really start and like adapt into the TikTok for like a specific kind of demographic range or like and just appeal to different audiences, but using the same video and just kind of like tweaking little things across platforms can really make a huge difference.
And of course, being the SEO analyst that I am, I would encourage you to post videos onto your Google business profile because that's primarily where a lot of people start their search for apartments. They don't know, you know, all the apartments in the area. So when they, Google apartments in Denver, the more information you can provide to users online, just the more you'll stand out and the better chance you'll have of people, going to your website or your property for a tour. And then also posting videos onto your property website just to keep people engaged there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's get into how to actually execute video for your property and talk about some best practices. So, a really interesting thing when thinking about video is the discussion of sound. Um, a lot of videos, most people I think on TikTok watch their videos with sound. It's very common to play things with sound or like with sound and caption. But interestingly, on Facebook, at least, over 75% of videos are played completely on mute. So being able to film in a way where you might have someone speaking through the video, but if you also include captions or include a voiceover or something like that, making sure that things are adaptable both with and with sound is super important. And it's also going to allow you that flexibility to post across platforms and still have that effective engagement. Um, yeah, and then just really considering adding those captions in. It doesn't necessarily have to be like word for word captions. You can do like blurb pop-ups on certain things as well and play around with that to see what gets you the best results. Optimizing your video assets is super important. This can get tricky sometimes with there's a the balance between compressing a video size without losing quality. There's a happy middle ground that you can find. And then saving everything in MP4 format is going to, again, give you the best cross platform flexibility. Um, this one might seem a little bit obvious, but I think it's important to say don't steal content. It's very easy to grab stock footage or grab photos or things about your local community, especially that do require a certain level of attribution. It's not to say that you can't use them, but make sure that you're attributing things correctly. This also definitely goes for music. TikTok, Facebook, Instagram all have free music libraries that you can tap into, but especially if you are have a specific thing in mind, make sure that you have the correct attribution and copyright rights that are required by that, just so you don't get into anything sticky. Um, Showcasing your entire community. Video can be so much more than just a floor plan walkthrough. You can tour your pool, do a workout in your gym, show off your beautiful lobby. If you have drone footage that you want to use and show where you're located in your community, or if you have a beautiful skyline view, use video to help you show that off. The options are genuinely endless, and it's really fun to get the chance to kind of be creative with it. And then always just remembering fair housing guidelines. This is key, especially if you are captioning or doing a voiceover or anything like that, making sure that you are using inclusive and diverse language. Um, Avoid mentioning anything about age, ability, keeping in mind something like walk in closets versus spacious storage, something being steps away from an apartment versus moments away. It's small changes, but those are really key. And sometimes it's easy to forget when you're filming. So, for organic social specifically, it's really important to pay attention to your lighting, your sound, your focus, your framing. You can definitely keep it simple, but those are kind of going to be the key aspects to really getting a quality video content. Um, you can also really play around with perspective. So you can try filming vertically, try filming in square format, try filming in horizontal format, play around with cutting those together and see what happens. Vertical is what I would recommend to start out. It's going to give you the most cross platform functionality, but you can really play around with if you want to get kind of lower to the ground, stand on a chair, play around with those perspectives, bring the camera actually all the way up to your eye level. Those can make big differences in the way that your videos appear and the engagement level that they have. If you're editing, again, just paying attention to that copyrighted music, proofread your captions. It's the small things that really show the quality. And then test run, watch your video from the perspective of a potential renter, but also watch your video from the perspective of a current resident. If you're showing off your pool, but recently there was like some resident complaints about the pool or something like that, just keeping those like perspectives in mind can really help bring you some success on the video. And then on the SEO side, there's some more specifics as well.
Yes. So I wouldn't say there's too many differences between creating a video for SEO versus organic social. It definitely has a lot of all the same best practices, but where SEO comes into play would be at the very beginning when you're trying to find helpful keywords to target, because that's kind of like your roadmap for when you're creating videos. If you
Mhm.
just kind of go in blind, not really knowing what you want to do, people can tell. So definitely starting out with like research about what keywords are being searched for the most. If you want to make a video about how to design or like utilize a space in like a studio apartment, make sure that those keywords are something that people are looking for. And then on the back end, like once you have the video edited and you're test running it and it looks great, SEO is gonna, be your savior and getting people to look at your video and getting eyes on it. Because using the keywords that you found, you want to add that to your metadata. So adding it to your title tags, your meta description, just so search engines are able to understand what that video is about to give it more context and so people can find it. And you also want to include a video transcript, again, just for search engines to be able to crawl that content, find those keywords, and have a better understanding of what your content is about. You also want to add subtitles because not only is it helpful to remain, in order to remain ADA compliant, but it also just allows everyone to be able to see your video. Because I don't know if anyone like online is listening that is a I guess like a culprit of this or like a criminal of this, but if you no one likes to listen to people play videos out loud, like on full volume. So you want to add subtitles to your videos that way people who are in public places with distracting noises are able to still understand your content while reading the subtitles in the video. Because there's nothing worse than someone who plays a video at full volume, like in the library without headphones on. So don't be that person. And I'm so sorry if I just outed somebody that is that person, but I think it's about time we address it and just let it be known that it's not okay. But you also want to include CTAs in your video. So whether it's like a video like where you're verbally communicating something like a tour of an apartment, make sure you include like, hey, schedule a tour with us, like visit our website. But also add links and those commands like in the description of the video as well, just so you can give people a goal of like what they should be doing once they see your video to help lead to those conversions. And if you're going to compress a video for your website, please do so, um, because it just helps to keep the page speed faster because that is a Google ranking factor. So the slower your page loads because of that large video, is going to affect your rankings. And I think one more thing that's super important is depending on what your goal is. So if you want videos to rank on Google or optimize it for YouTube, you want to make sure that you're not embedding the same video on your website multiple times because if that video is in relation to like a blog post about something to help add more value, don't post that video like on your floor plans page, for instance, because those videos will compete against each other and you're pretty much just doing extra work for no reason.
Yeah, competing against yourself. And we
Yeah.
obviously want to get the most like bang for our buck with how we're posting, but also really rank as well as we possibly can. 100%. So, big question. I feel like for a lot of people, video shoot equals money. So let's talk about how we can circumvent that. We know that budgets are tight. I really hope you guys are admiring these gifts. They were so fun. So video does not have to break the bank. It is very DIYable. So Abby talked a little bit in her TikTok presentation from earlier today about how to film on a budget. And smartphones have an incredible capability, super strong cameras. So just filming with a phone is fantastic. I think the only tips that I would have is like do your best to kind of minimize like shakiness. A tripod can really help with stability, filming on top of a table, um, just finding somebody who's got a really steady arm, whatever it is that's going to work out for you, that's going to help. And then really getting into trying those multiple angles, try perspective, start off from the corner of the room so you see the full space. And then I think one of the biggest things that video really adds up as far as cost is lighting. Lighting kits are super pricey. We definitely get that, but we have this wonderful thing called the sun that we can utilize. So, but if you have a west facing unit, try filming during that sunset golden hour time. If you have something that faces east or doesn't have the best lighting ever, try that morning light and get that kind of softer white light. Use that to your advantage and take in the natural light. If you're filming outside, try midday and play around with when does your pool or when does your gym or when does your lobby look the best? Make use of transitions, cuts, captions. Play around with splicing videos. Like I said earlier, you can get a lot out of one video with interesting and different transitions. And then iMovie and other in app editing is your friend. iMovie is simple. It might seem intimidating, but it doesn't have to be. So making those cuts, adding in those captions can be really simple. And speaking of simple, keep it simple. Um, Videos do not have to be complex. It does not have to be a Michael Bay movie. There does not have to be like 97 special effects. Show off the one thing you want to show off, get your call to action in there, and see how it does. So, is video here to stay? Yeah. What's the long term strategy? So, creating a film schedule is important. So, setting clear expectations about who is filming, when do we want them to film? This can be your on site team, this can be someone that you outside hire, a freelancer, someone in your who's living in your apartment community, like a live in influencer, however, you're choosing to go about filming, which is something that our digital team can help you address. Because I know that can be a concern. Creating a schedule and saying, this is when we're going to film. We're going to film once per quarter. We're going to film once per month. We're going to film once per week if that's something that you're able to do. Obviously, the more content, the better. But I think keeping in mind if you go into filming saying, well, we're going to film once, it's not going to be as effective as it could be if you are willing to film multiple times. So creating that schedule is important and continuing to encourage creativity. Have fun with it. And then ultimately, chat with your digital team about how to integrate across platforms. We can help you wade through figuring out engagement rates and views and clicks across all of these different platforms. So
So I know we threw a lot at you
that was a
guys,
lot.
but
I know.
so here's the main takeaway, besides that we're the best.
We try.
Video can provide an average of 157% increase in organic traffic from the SERPs. It can also lead to faster and higher conversions. You want to make sure that you're putting your videos in front of your focus audience because what's content if no one sees it? And also, when you're creating video content, it doesn't have to be expensive. There are so many ways that you can make an affordable video that's also just informative. You know, it's great looking. It's just visually appealing. There's ways to do it. And I think the biggest takeaway is that video is essential to your marketing strategy. Like Caitlin said in the beginning, not a lot of people are using video in multifamily right now. So this is your chance to really just jump on the trend and, be a leader in the industry.
Absolutely. This is the moment to tap in. So, we've included some resources and helpful links on this final slide that how to film a TikTok video from earlier, beginner's guide to iMovie, some editing tips. But ultimately, our number one resource or your number one resource is us. So, talk to us about your video questions and we can help you figure it out. So, I'm going to open it up to Q&A. Let me grab the chat here real quick. I know it's kind of been popping off, which is fantastic. So, let's see. Oh, we've got some jokesters in here. I love it. All right. Oh, we're back to George Washington. Let me scroll down. Okay. So let's see. All right. We had some questions for Erica about SEO versus social as far as usefulness. I think that's actually a really good question. I think it's dependent on your goals for the property. I
Mhm.
think it's a really great approach to start with both and see how things go. And kind of I think and also they also really complement each other. They kind of go hand in hand. So having that metadata on the back end with your SEO can really help those organic social posts do better and vice versa. let's see. Got some other questions in here. See. Oh my gosh, David, with the if you could only have one social platform, what would it be? Do you have a social platform like love of your life?
I do, but it's not a video related one. I just love Reddit. I learned so much from it. There are some videos on it, but we didn't talk about it in this presentation.
Yeah,
So
it's
I don't
true.
know if that's a valid answer to the
That's
question.
that's fair. I feel like currently mine is TikTok. I just kind of can't get enough. I feel like I would hold on to that, and I in the multifamily sense, I also see a huge potential for value there. Um, were there any other questions in the chat? Anything we can talk about? Oh, I see one from Erica. Do you recommend alt text specifically for IG? That is a really good question. So I've seen mixed results as far as having it on there. I think it has potential, but I think there's definitely still some more like research and to be done. So I would say like we should try it, but I wouldn't say it's a recommendation. I think it could potentially be effective, but I don't think it has like a massive shift in results. So yeah. Oh, that's so awesome to hear. That is fantastic. A video team today. That is great. So, all right, I think we are just short on time. So I am going to go ahead and wrap up. But thank you all so much for tuning in. And if you have any other questions or about video, feel free to shoot us a chat.
Wait a second. You didn't answer my other one.
Oh, sorry.
If
All
you
right,
were
hold on. David called me out. One
if you
second.
were czar of one of the social platforms, what would you be?
Oh
Which
my
one?
gosh, I missed it. I'm so sorry. A czar of one platform. Which would I pick?
I'm gonna be that person. I honestly don't know what czar means. Like,
You
I
just
don't
you're in
Like
total
the
control.
ruler.
oh, oh, I had that much power.
I'm afraid of the face
Where
Kelsey
would I
just
put
made.
it? I don't know. I feel like you go first. I'm gonna think about it.
Oh, I wanna be the queen of Instagram. Oh, man.
Okay.
I don't know what it is about Instagram, but I just feel like that there's so many things that I would love to, like, change or, like, add into. If I had the power to tap into their API, I totally would. So, I think that, that would probably
And what change would
be
you
it for
make?
me.
First change as queen.
Oh my gosh. Changing how reels appear in feeds, it drives me a little crazy, like, the way that they're formatted, and I
Mm.
feel like I would really wanna switch that up and
Way to bring it back to video.
It's
Essentially.
true, it
It's that
genuinely
loop.
I know that it drives me crazy, it's not even a shameless plug, it just drives me nuts, I feel like I would change that. I also wanna change the logo, I feel like it's, like, I feel like it could be so much spicier and more fun. What about you, Kels? You
I
still thinking?
Yeah, it's because there's so many possibilities. There's so many things that I just want to be like the czar of social media. Could I
All of
could I
it.
just
Yeah,
do that?
choose it.
Yes,
The whole thing.
I don't want to pick one. I want all of I want all control. I want this to be a dictatorship.
in total control. I love it.
All right, cool. Well,
Okay,
thank you
cool.
guys.
Yeah, of course, thank you so much.